Hello everybody, it's Bill's that college football guy here, another video back in the other truck. I promised I'd say this at the start of the video. I'm going to get into this real quick. This is the other truck. Those who are following me on X know the fact I got into an accident on Wednesday last week. Obviously I'm alright. Let's get to this quick. I-94, Wednesday morning, early, 3 in the morning, just crossed eastbound, just crossed out from Wisconsin to Illinois, so it's cold, it's snowy, it's dark. I hit a patch of ice around a corner, and I start going sideways. And I see ahead of me in the right lane is a semi-truck, the tractor. Not the full tractor and trailer, just the semi, the tractor, bobtailing, driving by itself, driving, just a driver driving it down the road. Barely can see the flashers in the snow. And I'm going sideways. The trailer tires are off the road in the grass. I'm in the right lane, so it's going this way, and I'm really panicking, hitting the gas, and do whatever I can do to try to get it back straight and on the road. And I did, and I got it slowed down and everything else, got it controlled, and was moving it over. But this guy in this bobtail is coming up very, very fast. And I couldn't get it all the way over in time. And what happened? My right tire hit his driver's side rear tire in his tractor. And it bent, like if this is the axle, the steer axle for the front of the truck, this is the driver's side, this is the passenger side. The passenger side's kind of bent in a little bit now because it hit it pretty good and knocked it back. And it popped out the headlight and cracked the frame on this side. So I'm like, cracked the fiberglass and on and I'm mad. It ended up in the ditch. I'm mad. I'm PO'd. I was going to explain more on X, but I was too pissed off to talk about it. Chance to calm down, worry about other things. I got home on Saturday night, back to work Monday morning, yesterday. I got to go in the office anyway. So I know I'm getting chewed out because I got in an accident because I got to go check in with safety before you leave. So I knew this was happening, so I had been gearing myself up mentally for the whole damn time, knowing how bad am I going to get chewed out here. I'm sitting here under the bright light getting grilled by 14 people, right? So I go into the safety area, and they they say, go meet down at the shop. Because the truck that I'm in now is the truck I picked up. I got in the accident in Illinois. They towed me to Rockford, Illinois, but I had to get my load done. So they paid for an Uber from Rockford, Illinois to Madison, Wisconsin, 2 hours to pick up a tractor that was up there at a PACCAR shop that was done, bring it down to where the trailer I had, which was at the load, to go deliver it in Ohio, outside of Cincinnati. That's this tractor here. It went into the shop as there was a bunch of problems with it. It had been sitting out in the snow for a month and a half, so I asked them to give the once over, and it had a bunch of problems. Even though it was in a shop, it still had problems. Which is another thing for another day to get worried about. So I get done with that, go in there. I'm in the shop expecting going to get reamed. What did the cop tell you? First thing off the jump. That you were in there, you ran to the back of him. You're not at fault. Cop tells me, the trooper, you're not at fault. He says he was going 45 miles an hour, the driver you hit. He says he was going 45 when you hit him. That's what he says. I would have your insurance company look into that. You got cameras? Have your insurance company look into that. You're not at fault. I got to deal with him. So I got let go with the wrecker who was towing my truck, and we went to Rockford with it. I didn't get a ticket. Now, I said 45. Everybody in safety started cracking up laughing. What the hell's going on? And the whole way over there, people were asking me, saying, from other people going, you okay? Everything's okay? I'm thinking, like, are you all buttering me up for the execution down in the garage down here, or down the shop? Nope. What it was, you know how fast you're going? Like, I was trying to get my truck not ending up in a damn ditch. I was more important with trying to get control of the damn thing than looking at the speedometer. That was my more concern. The speedometer was way down the damn list. He's looking at me and went, you were going 30 when you hit him. Now, I have a passive radar in here. Radar identification. And basically what it is that it comes out the front of the truck, and it tells you how fast the truck in front of you is going. The vehicle in front of you is going. So if you're driving down at 70 miles an hour, and it says it's going 54, okay, I got to get around him because I'm going to run right in the back of him. Safety feature. According to your radar, when we pulled it up in the computer, that guy was going 8 miles an hour in the right lane on an interstate. And had been going 8 for the entire time you were almost going. As soon as the camera got audio on him for that half a mile, you were still under the quarter mile, whatever it was, or the quarter mile you were under control, that you were kind of going facing that way towards him, he was driving 8 the entire time. Minimal speed limit on the interstate is 45. You're not at fault. Trooper said you weren't at fault. You didn't get a ticket. You get cited for anything? No. DOT inspection on the truck was fine. Yep, cleared that. 100% on that. There's no problems. So they got to deal with that. I'm in a truck that I may be putting me back in my old one because they paid. It was cheaper for them to tow the truck from Rockford, Illinois to Middle Tennessee than it was for them to have it fixed in Middle Tennessee and towed here. Because they'd rather fix it at the shop because it was cheaper. By about $4,000, they told me. But anyway, everybody get on there, and somebody on there doesn't want to do the story, so I'll tell you what you're going to do. You're going to bookmark this for 6 minutes and 15 seconds because the story will start now. We're talking about the American. This is the, I guess, AAC Implosion 2.0. Will ESPN orchestrate the death of the American in 2031? So, what are we talking about here? Well, I did the scenario 1 about this, with the AAC being imploded, because I thought that the deal was, the look-in clause was going to kick in and the schools would leave earlier than 2031. This one is focusing on the fact that ESPN's greedy. They want to keep these schools for as long as possible, so they'll extend the deal to 2031 to keep them. The only exception to me was what I had in the first one, was that I had Pac-12 becoming part of the ESPN family of conferences, and, and becoming one of their conferences, so ESPN to save money would do it. But this is 2031. Pac-12 is not an ESPN conference, and they're doing their own thing. So the Americans' media deal ends in 2031. The Pac-12's deal ends in 2031. The Mountain West media deal is moving. Oh, the schools will leave from the reason I've been hearing is, like, I did a video almost a year ago, I believe, where I said the American was in bigger danger of imploding than the ACC. And people told me I was nuts. That the ACC is going to completely fall apart. They're going to send schools over to the American, and that's how it's going to be, because the ACC has no value. The ACC has a name. You say ACC, college football fans know what you're talking about. The Pac-12 has a name. Now, is it what it once was? No, admittedly. But it's still a name. People know the Pac-12 name. They know the ACC name. You see AAC, they ask you, who the hell is that? The American. Who's that? Doesn't have the same brand value. You could, if the schools leave the ACC, you're still going to keep it because it has brand value. The American does not. And I said the fact that the American will, the deal is going to drop in value because the Conference USA schools, for the most part, the Conference USA schools that came over when Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati left for the Big 12, those schools have not filled in value. They have not lived up to their end of the deal, and they're in a worse position than where they were. They need more value, and they're not. Hold on, I'm talking a mile a minute. UTSA and North Texas have held up their end of the deal. They have value. They've done their stuff. The other 4, not so much. They had the idea, and the Americans' idea and ESPN's idea was adding media markets will add media value. The schools with the media markets, with more money behind them, will grow and become better. And the simple fact of the matter is that is not true. The schools that were winning before, UTSA and North Texas, have kept winning. The schools that weren't winning before, even with more money, are still not winning. The correct model that should have been done and followed, hindsight being 2020, was the Sun Belt. When a whole bunch of schools in 2013 and 2014 left for Conference USA, they added schools from FCS. Did they add for major markets? No. They added schools that won. Appalachian State, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern. They added schools that won. Later on, James Madison. Schools that won. Not in major media markets. You win, the viewership will follow. What's happened since then? Sunbelt's value has gone up even though they don't have major media markets. Why? Because they win. That's the deal. Now, if you win and have a media market, that's a whole different argument. That's the UNLV argument. UNLV was not being considered, being thrown around by people, Kuz and Kuz's Corner and other people, about going to the Big 12 when they were losing. Nobody cared. But if UNLV wins with the market, that's a different story. You have to win first. And the fact is, the ESPN has realized, excuse me, that the plan for the Americans not working. Winning is more important than the media market. So it's time to reshuffle the deck. So in 2031, what has happened by then? Well, first off, Pac-12's at 7 schools. I believe they're going to add Texas State, UNLV, even all the other stuff. But I got another video coming out about UNLV, about how that whole thing's going. And a bunch of people have done stuff about it. And I'm not anywhere near any of them, from what I've heard. But that's going to be coming out later this week. What we're talking about here, I think the Pac-12 adds Texas State and says, you know what, we're going to wait. We're going to wait. We're just going to wait. Just sit here and wait. So, what happens from there? Pac-12 is adding Texas State. The Sun Belt lost one. They're going to add one. And I think they're going to go add a market. This is the one time where I'm thinking is, do they want a bunch of schools that win? The one school they'd want would be Liberty, but Liberty is not going to want to come with all the schools there. They want to have an easier schedule. So what's the move to make? Get FIU. You're in South Florida. It's a new state. Because you have the Sun Belt Conference have no schools in the Sunshine State. So you add FIU from Florida to get yourself in that one. You're back where you were. Now, fast forward to 2031, rumors coming around and I've been hearing that unless something drastic happens, the new valuation for the AAC, the American, in 2031 could be $5 to $5.5 million, because the bottom schools are not holding up their end. So Pac-12 will have already had a first 5-year contract under their belt. I believe they're going to have added another basketball school at this point. They'll have 2, so it'll be 8 for football, 10 for basketball. As to who that is, I don't know, but I'm setting the stage here. Pac-12's deal probably will be going up in value because they've already been established as a conference. Everybody knows what they got. The usual progression. We know how this works, right? So, knowing the fact the Americans' deal is going down, knowing the fact the Pac-12's deal at worst is staying, or it's going up, which is going to be more money anyway, I believe Memphis, Tulane, UTSA, North Texas in 2030 announce and say, bye-bye, we're leaving. And they're going to go to the Pac-12. Now, for UNLV fans, well, we want to go to the Pac-12. They're going to tell you, sorry. We have 8. We added 4. We're now at 12. We have a great situation here. We now have a 5-school central time zone block. Texas State, North Texas, UTSA, Tulane, and Memphis, which helps Olympic sports travel, helps travel, period. We don't need Vegas. We're good. So that's where they're going to be with that one. So that puts them at 12, and I think they'll have another basketball school that's St. Mary's or whoever, and they'll be at 14 basketball schools, 12 for football. See you later, they're done. Now, that takes the American down to 10. Now, the rumor mill, when it went around about the look-in, about the media deal bidding lowered, who was the first to complain? And it was from Army. Because they're worried, because they were drug kicking and screaming joining this conference in the first place. They wanted to stay independent. But for the money, all right, it's more money we make. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll do it. And they ended up winning the conference in their first year. We had a lot of firsts in college football, didn't we, this year? I mean, SMU, the list goes on. We'll talk about that later. But they're on a 70% scale, Army and Navy. They're making 70% of the money. So you notice, folks, the talk of Air Force leaving has died off, even with the UNLV money going. You'll be leaving, they're still dying up because the fact that the Americans' deal has dropped down, they may still be better off staying where they're at anyway. Because if 4 schools leave, if you're Air Force, would you want to join this conference? No, you're going to stay in the Mountain West, as bad as they are. You're going to stay. So you look at it now. Those 4 have left. You're down to 10. You know what's going to happen? That deal that was $5 to $5.5 million rumored, I think it's going to drop to about $3 to $3.5 with Memphis, Tulane, UTSA, North Texas gone. Now you're talking a 70% scale is what Army and Navy are making. So they're at $7 or $8 million. Is what the deal is. So you're talking $4.9 to $5.6 million for Army and Navy just to do football. That's not bad. Now you're talking dropping that down 2.1 to 2.5, 2.45, what it is. Off the top of my head, 2.1 to 2.45 million. They can make more than that being an independent. See what's going to happen? Army and Navy says bye-bye. They're gone. So now you're down to 8. Here's where ESPN gets to work. Okay, this conference now, I think they're only worth $2 to $2.5 million. The Sun Belt's going to be worth more. The MAC could be worth more at that point. So now, if you're ESPN, you cut your losses. You've been dealing with this anchor around your neck, chain with the anchor on it, around your neck that is the Americans media deal. Now here's your chance to get out of it. So what are you going to do here? The deal's $2 to $2.5 million. You let that leak. Then ESPN back channel. This is where this is. I'm thinking ESPN's going to do their little back channel magic here. They're going to go talk to the Sun Belts. Hey, Sun Belt, you're coming up about ready to get about $3 million a year. We're going to kick you up to 3.5, maybe with an option to a 4. But you got to add 2 schools for us. Sun Belt's like, okay, what are we talking about? I want you to add South Florida, and I want you to add East Carolina. Holy crap. South Florida and East Carolina in the Sun Belt. Sun Belt just got really damn dangerous, really damn fast. They already are a problem. Add those 2. So now you have 2 in the state of Florida. You've got East Carolina and Appalachian State. These are brands that win and do draw viewers. That's what they're going to do here. So now, I think the first one out of the last 8 schools that are left, after Memphis, Tulane, UTSA, North Texas, over the Pac-12, Army and Navy dip back to being independent. South Florida bounces. Soon as South Florida leaves, there's a phone call that goes down. And probably by the time this East Carolina would join, I think this phone thing be finalized. Mountain West? Hi. Hi. This is, I'm Tulsa. This is Rice. And we would kind of wonder if you'd be interested in adding us, because the American isn't looking too safe right now. And considering what the Mountain West is doing, it fits right in the footprint. Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Rice. Rice would be in Texas, East Texas. You've got Tulsa, which is on the way to northern Illinois. You make both of them full members. If you have to, sweeten the pot on Hawaii to cover their travel expenses. Kick them back $250,000 a year extra in revenue to get Hawaii to play ball with this. If they, we don't want to do this, play ball. We'll kick you in a little extra money. And they'd have 2 more schools in the Central Time Zone, which boosts the Mountain West media deal. So now, you're down to, you went from having this conference, Memphis, Tulane, UTSA, North Texas are in the Pac-12, Army and Navy dipped to go independent, South Florida and East Carolina are now in the Sun Belt, Tulsa and Rice are now in the Mountain West, you're down to 4. Charlotte, Temple, UAB, and FAU. Now, at this point in time, I didn't talk about one of the other G5 conferences left. The other part of the ESPN family of conferences, the MAC. My man Steven, STV Castle, he did a video about the MAC expansion, thinking they need to go east. Told Steven, no, you're going to have to go west, at least for 1 school. And I think by the time this happens, they're going to add 2 schools from FCS. At least 1 will be west, possibly 2 west, because the fact is, forget the fact that you lost to Cal outside of Chicago. You lost the only school in your conference in the Central Time Zone. You guys want to make $4 to $4.5 million a year. You're not making that with 1 time zone. You're not doing it. You're going to have two. So you're going to have to get schools in the central time zone. I don't want to add Illinois State because it'd be looking like we're a reach grab. You're going to be having to reach anyway. Grab Northern Iowa. Figure out something. That's another video that's in the works right now. What the MAC could be doing in expansion. I got to update that one as well from some things I've been hearing. But they're going to be at 14 at that point. They're going to be looking to add 2. Here's where the work kicks in. It's also ESPN behind the scenes. MAC, you're making $2 million a year with an option of 2.5. We're going to kick you up to 3 with an option for 3.5. I need you to add Temple. And you're going to go to Conference USA, dip into there, and I want you to grab Delaware. I think that's what's going to happen with the MAC, with Temple and Delaware being added to the 2 schools, the FCS schools they add. I don't know how they're going to be doing that one, but you get Philadelphia with Temple. It helps out with that one. Plus, you get Delaware in there. I think that works in with the fit. Conference USA will have lost another school. So what's going to happen? Hey, Charlotte, UAB, FAU. Hey, you were once Conference USA schools. Here's your choice. Conference USA is making $900,000 a year. I think by the time this happens, that may be worthy of another raise. They'll say, hey, we're going to reorganize your deal right now and kick you up to $1.5 million a school if you bring in Charlotte, UAB, and FAU back in the fold. Now, UAB is going to be difficult because they just added Jacksonville State, which if you don't know where Jacksonville, Alabama is, it's right outside Birmingham. So it's literally, you have 2 in the same area. That was kind of the point of bringing them in. So now you're going to have both of those coming in. They're going to kick up the money, the Battle of Birmingham between Jacksonville and State and UAB possibly coming in. You bring FAU so they get Florida back. You get Charlotte to get back into North Carolina. Conference USA kicks up to about $1.5 million in a year. Say you're going to renegotiate the deal to $2 million or more when their contract comes up. So, what did you do by doing this in 2031? I don't know if the Pac-12 is going to be an ESPN family of conference by then or not. But I do know. You do this, Conference USA got stronger. The MAC got stronger. The Sun Belt definitely got stronger. And that anchor with that chain for that $7-8 million around your neck just went away. So you saved money doing this. And we all know ESPN right now is in a profit mode. They want to save money as much as they can. So that's where I think the motif for this version of the AAC implosion going down. Is there a possibility that this may not happen? There is. But if the Pac-12 gets what they want to have happen, the dominoes will fall afterwards. And if enough of them leave, Army and Navy are the key to the survival of the American. Not Memphis, not Tulane, not UTSA, not North Texas, not South Florida. Army and Navy. Because they're the only 2 schools, thanks to help from Notre Dame, but still it's regardless, those 2 schools who average 1 million viewers a game every year for damn near a decade. They're the 2 highest rated in viewership G5s there are. Those 2 bounce, conference is done. Because then at that point, South Florida would jump to the Sun Belt. So would East Carolina. And then everybody else is fending for themselves. Because if Army and Navy left, that $5 to $5.5 million deal would probably drop to 4. And then for sure Memphis, Tulane, and them are gone. So I just look at it as I'm not that concerned, not that hopeful for the future of the American past 2031. Because as long as they have a deal with ESPN, and worse yet, if they're not affiliated with ESPN, because they said, oh, they'll just lose those schools. They'll do the opposite. They'll raid from the Sun Belt on there. So okay, so you're going to raid the best schools from these lower conferences and basically cut your throat on the lower end deals. You take the best schools from Conference USA and the MAC and the Sun Belt to replenish the American. They're still not worth $7 million a year. That's been proven. The best schools will leave, and you're still going to have the same problem. And you've crippled your lower conferences the same way. We'll see what happens, but I've done enough talking. Thanks, everybody, for watching the video. If you haven't done it already, do me a favor. Smash that like button. Hit the thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Helps the video be seen by more people. Comment on the video. Let me know. What do you think about this and everything else? On there, you have multiple points you want to make about the video? I mean, doing these longer, some of you guys put these phone book comments. Break it down into smaller ones. It's easier for everybody to read because I notice people have been on there. It helps me out, helps other channels out. Make multiple points, do multiple comments. It helps the channels grow for everybody, not just me, everybody across YouTube. Share the video if you want to. If you haven't done already, check out some other videos I've done. If you like them, hey, subscribe to the channel. You want to follow me on X, that craziness, the link will be in the description. So thanks, everybody, for watching. Got to get back to work because I look at the clock now. So everybody be safe and please be good to each other.